Welcome, everyone. We are really excited to be together with you today as we share our latest developments in our open education resource collection focused on quality holistic learning. I'm really excited to be here with you all today. It's morning my time, it's evening for some of you. I think it's middle of the day for some of you, and I appreciate you joining wherever you are on a Monday to be together with this community and to learn about our new resources. We are going to have a very full program and agenda. And so I invite you to sit back, enjoy a cup of tea, take some notes, take it in, and feel free always to post questions or comments in the chat. And we will try to address some of those as we have time. We're setting up today's event as a storytelling project. It's really exciting to see you joining from all over the world, from so many different regions and from so many areas of the world where we are experiencing challenges, multiple challenges. We're experiencing displacement. We're experiencing breakdowns in our education systems or our economic and financial systems. And all of these are partial stories. We know that there are so many layers to what is happening in each of these contexts. And so today, we're presenting a series of small stories, very short vignettes, to give you a sense of this project and a sense of all of the incredible people from all of the incredible, beautiful regions of the world where they are working. I'd like to start with our first chapter of this storytelling event, which is really an introduction to the project. Myself and my colleague, Diana Garcia, our Chief Program Officer at Childhood Education International, will be introducing this project. And I should say, by way of my own introduction, I am Julie. I am the Director of Teacher Learning and Leadership in the Center for Professional Learning at Childhood Education International. It is my great privilege and honor to be here with you today. With that, I'll turn it over to Diana to introduce our organization and the context we have in our own work for this larger body of work. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Julie. It is wonderful to be here with all of you. I am thrilled and honored, as Julie also said, to be with this wonderful group and to share the resources today. I'm Diana Garcia, the Chief Program Officer for Childhood Education International. And I'll just tell you a little bit about the organization. Since 1892, Childhood Education International has been committed to one primary objective: ensuring children's access to quality education worldwide. We create programs and projects that support pre-primary to primary school age children so they can learn, grow, and develop optimally. We collaborate with teachers, education leaders, families, community leaders, health professionals, government agencies, the private sector, and civil society organizations. Together, we provide innovative solutions that enhance learning and development for all children. We design and deliver programs, trainings, and professional development experiences that support education leaders to be change makers who resolve education challenges using innovative solutions. So one of the ways in which Childhood Education International does its work is through the Center for Professional Learning, or CPL. And our wonderful host and director of CPL, Julie Casper, we'll talk more about this next. Thank you, Julie.
Diana, thank you so much. It's such a beautiful way to situate the work within this much larger body of work that's happening, not only in our organization, but with all of our partners and colleagues around the world to really address these education challenges. And the Center for Professional Learning really does focus in on a particular part of this puzzle, which is the educator workforce, making sure that educators, teachers are empowered and equipped to tackle the evolving education challenges. And we do this through a number of initiatives, including the Refugee Educator Academy, which works in the US and outside the US, our Quality Holistic Learning Project, which is what brings us here together today, and many projects that we are working on in Ukraine with some of our colleagues who've joined us on this call today as well. So this is the context in which we do a lot of our work as the Center for Professional Learning. It includes Ukraine, it includes Lebanon, it includes Jordan and Niger and Chad and Kenya. It includes the US. It includes many regions within the perimeters or around these nations as well. And the way we do that work is through teachers. Our focus is on teachers and on teacher professional learning and teacher well-being. And here you see images from some of our recent projects with teachers in Lebanon, with teachers in Niger, with teachers in Kenya, as well as in Ukraine. We do this work with a focus on the learner. And for us, that is the teacher. The teacher is at the center of our work within a participatory design framework. We work to co-create professional learning resources, and we use translanguaging, or all of the language resources that our community brings to the table. We do this through an iterative process model, meaning that we are constantly reviewing and revising with our teachers. And the current project we've been working on as the Quality Holistic Learning Project has focused in 4 target countries of Kenya, Lebanon, Niger, and Chad. And we've been working in the languages of English, French, and Arabic, and across and between those languages. These are some of the driving forces in the work, and I share these as a collection of flowers. We like to think of the blooms, the buds in our work. These are all inspirations for our work. These are all parts of our work. This is all part of what we envision when we talk about holistic learning. Our work has followed in a number of phases, starting with forming a team of teacher fellows. These are teachers who are working in classrooms in displacement settings, who are leading in their communities and helping to provide a teacher's perspective on what is happening in the classroom and what is possible in the classroom. They have helped us to co-create the resources we're sharing today. They've also helped to pilot test and evaluate and revise those resources, and then to publish, disseminate, and help with uptake. And you'll hear all about that as we talk today. We work within a number of frameworks that comprise this holistic learning space. Many of you are familiar with the CASTLE framework around social and emotional learning. We also look at asset-based pedagogies, which really focus on being culturally informed and linguistically responsive, as well as reflective and adaptive, inclusive and interactive. We use a framework of differentiation to think about the needs of different learners, including teachers as learners. We also work with principles of universal design for learning to ensure that we are using multiple modalities that allow for access and inclusion. And we work within the national education systems where our teachers are living and working. So we've used the Kenya competency-based curriculum as an inspiration along with their core values. And we've tried to align our work closely with that work in Kenya. In Lebanon, just recently, a national social and emotional learning framework has been published. But all along the creation of this framework, we have been in conversation, and our work also is in conversation with that work. Our own framework takes the CASTLE framework and redesigns it to think about what we are centering as holistic learning. For us, that includes well-being, psychosocial support, differentiated instruction, social and emotional learning, and asset-based pedagogies. And we think about this within the multiple layers of the classroom, the school, the home, the community, the country or region, and then the larger global education in displacement ecosystem. And as one of our fellows wrote in a recent blog, a blog that was published this spring, in our shared learning, we have become a friendly village of educators across the world. This really speaks to how we approach this project, which is that each of us, wherever we are located, are learning, and we are helping each other to continue to learn and grow and better serve our communities and our students. With that, I'm so excited to open the chapters of this book to hear the voices of the participants and the leaders in the work, which are our fellows and our consultants and our project team. In this next chapter, we're going to hear about what are the teachers' desires, what are the many knowledges and experiences that they bring to the project, and what are their hopes for this work? In other words, why? Why quality holistic learning? Why open education resources? In this chapter, you'll hear from Hadizatu Amu Ali, a senior project fellow in Niger, Vianney Mpita Bavuma, a senior project fellow in Kenya, and Sara Kassab, a project consultant in Lebanon. Hadiza, the mic is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thanks, Julie, for the floor. So my talk is going to be on teacher professional development in Niger. But first, I would like to give you an idea of Niger education system. Alexander 2021 in an IRC report stated, I quote, Niger is one of the most fragile contexts in the world. It's consistently ranked at or near the very bottom of human development measures, and it has experienced crises, including but not limited to a high level of displacement and education system breakdown. According to the same report, 3 million people in Niger require humanitarian assistance, and more than half of this group are children. That's the importance of teacher professional development in Niger, particularly on holistic learning, to meet those kids' needs. However, Jens et al. 2018 found that some teachers have no initial training at all. Besides, Niger has a limited educational resources, while we have thousands of open educational resources available online. This lack of teacher professional development and educational resources lack is due to teachers' limited digital literacy. That's the part we have on the barriers for teacher professional development. So in addition to the scarcity, or I would say lack of digital literacy, we have some financial constraints that teachers in Niger face. Furthermore, teachers in Niger are not aware of the availability of the OERs. And above all, they receive a limited institutional support for TPD. I would say, luckily, we have organizations, international organizations, such as Childhood Education International, that are, for example, via our project, the Quality Holistic Learning One, helping teachers to develop professionally. Teachers are changing lives thanks to those kind of international organizations which deliver trainings and professional development experiences. The Quality Holistic Learning Project fellows are teachers from emergency contexts. Our context in Niger is a displaced context, but we are engaged in learning through practice. Thanks to the Center for Professional Learning, we create materials that respond to urgent local needs. And the needs here in Niger is a need on not only professional development, but I would say mainly on holistic learning, professional development on holistic learning. Teachers are aware of their displacement content, but they don't know how to take care of kids they have in this context. So it means that there is a need for those teachers to develop professionally, especially on this aspect of holistic learning, in order to meet the kids' need. Our community is empowering. We learn from it, but we also share what we learn. And most importantly, we implement what we learn in our teaching practices. We are thankful to the Holistic Learning Project for the TPD opportunity and for the stipends we were given to help us cover the high connectivity fees. For, as I said earlier, access to internet, in addition to digital literacy, is the main barrier for teacher professional development. So the stipend we receive from the Holistic Learning Project help us cover the internet connectivity fees. I don't know if I have more to say. I will be with you, inshallah, for questions or more details on the professional development in Niger. Thank you.
Hadizatu, thank you so much for the context and for sharing your experience. And I invite participants in this workshop today, this storytelling workshop, to add questions for Hadiza in the chat where she can answer those. And with that, I would like to invite Vianney to please take the mic.
Yeah, thank you very much, Julie, and everyone here present. My name is Vianney Mtabavuma, as you just said. I'm a language refugee teacher in Kakuma refugee camp. I'm just going to talk about teacher capacity building. Quality holistic learning has sparked hopes for a slow but sure education revolution in Kakuma refugee camp and beyond. The setup choice is not hazardous. More than 200,000 multinational refugees reside here. Therefore, teaching and learning needs a contextual approach, which needs the existing conditions. This is why quality holistic learning, the inclusive approach of the whole, considers the physical, cognitive, psychosocial, mental health, well-being, all of those wrapped up in soft skills acquisition. Quality holistic learning views the many natural differences, backgrounds, for example, culture, beliefs, gender, abilities, talents, experiences, as assets, not challenges like it was before. This is what refugees, the vulnerable, and any learner need alongside with the conventional standards. The online teacher-learner community of practice involves both untrained teachers who are refugees in majority and the trained ones. So both are involved into the different holistic approaches because they put the learner at the core of the learning and restore the home warmth for the traumatized or the vulnerable. Love and empathy help the learner to gain identity and gather autonomy to teach and learn by themselves. That reflects exactly this fruitful moment now we are enjoying, when the learner comes up with a portfolio of true leadership. No doubt, actually no doubt, the open education resources co-created contain solutions to more than one trouble in handling education in emergencies. But there is need for wide and quality awareness. Teachers are the field masters. They know the appropriate menu for specific learning contexts. Teachers are eager for learning. And I hope that worldwide leaders are listening to me now. They have heard our voices. With special attention to facilities, the digital literacy, equipment, and the maintenance as well, teachers deserve a fair appreciation, quality professional growth, and a boost well-being. Thank you very much.
Vianney, many thanks for those wise words and those inspiring words. Powerful message for all of us to take in. I turn now to Sara Kassab, one of our project fellows in the early phase of the project and now a consultant and leader in our current phase of the work. Sara.
Yes. Hi, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. I'm Sara Kassab. I work as a project consultant with Childhood Education International, and I also work as a content developer with World Learning. I'm based in Lebanon, so I work in a project that is based in Lebanon. However, I started my journey as a teacher, like many of the teachers who have joined, who are joining us today. And I started working on this project also as a fellow teacher. I think one of the impacts, the impacts that I wanted to share is, and I added this word on the slide, dream to reality, because I wanted to share the impact of the project that it had on us as teachers and on the community that we work in. When I started working on the project as a teacher, we've never had an opportunity to create content before. The project did not, when we started working on the project, it wasn't the standard way of us being dictated on what our problem is and how could we find the solution. However, we were working in a community that told us to think about the problem and to think of the way that we wanted to solve that problem. The offerment of this kind of space made me believe that the power that teachers could have on the community that they are working in when they are given the opportunity to do so. During the phase 1, we ended up doing, creating one content. We ended up doing an online course along with other supporting materials. For me, this was a dream come to reality. And at that time, I was still a teacher. I had the opportunity to develop content that I could see other teachers working on. I could see the contextualized context that it came from and how it impacted the teachers and how teachers were using the materials. And so I started believing more in the power that teachers have. And I started wanting to do more into the project. I wanted to engage more. I wanted to give more. At that stage, I was shifting my career from being a teacher to a content developer. However, for me, I had a boost in my career in which I was engaged in a way that allowed me to believe more in my potentials. This is how the QHL project has impacted me. However, the impact did not stop at the level of me, at the personal level. The impact was at the level of the community that was created between me and other teachers in Lebanon, the impact and the connections that was created between me and other organizations in Lebanon and other teachers who work in public schools and in private schools in Lebanon. The project and the material that was created allowed all of us to see ourselves not only as teachers, but as teachers who are engaging in a learning process and as leader teachers. We were given the opportunity to lead learning and to lead change in our communities, even though all what we could look at ourselves and see, we could see that the impact that the teacher work that we had in the community was so powerful that it really stood out to other teachers. It really empowered other teachers to look more into the material, to use the material. And so when I see the QHL material, I see a powerful material that could impact the entire community, that could empower teachers to see that teachers can actually deliver to other teachers. Teachers can actually lead learning in their own community. Teachers can create that change in their own community without having to wait for that kind of change to come or to be dictated on us from others. And the other teachers who are going to speak today and have already spoke can really talk about that through their own experience. And we could see that through Hadiza and Vianney when we could see how they are able to talk about the community that they are working on, how to highlight the problems in their community, and how they were able to use the QHL material in order to serve the gaps and the challenges that are highlighted in their own community. What we aspire from the QHL material is for it to grow and to create a community of practice. That is to say, it's not just our work, it's our work to the teachers, who in turn could be the work of the teachers to other teachers, to their students, and to their own community. So the potential of the material is to make sure that we can actually impact the entire community. I really do truly see the impact of the QHL material as creating a community of practice. So thank you all.
Dada, thank you so much. You have helped to set up the possibility, the potential of this material that is being published today, which we're so excited to be launching and sharing. And with that, I'll turn over to Alyssa Verstegen, our Senior Project Associate in the Center for Professional Learning at Childhood Education International. She's going to show us what the library is about, what the resources are, and then actually open up that library and do a quick walkthrough so we'll all feel comfortable accessing them. Here we go, Alyssa.
Thank you, Julie. Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. I get the honor and pleasure of sharing the resources that we have developed with all of you. And so, as you can see here, we have some snapshots of the resources that were developed in this phase of the project. And I just want to reiterate that we have many diverse formats of resources. We have online courses, we have downloadable facilitation guides and PowerPoint workshops. We have micro-credentials, and we have research-backed reports that we've published as well. So if you could go on to the next slide, Julie, I just want to talk about briefly the OERs that were published last year. As you can see, there are 3 courses, a packet of CEL, social and emotional learning workshop slideshows and facilitation guides. We had a handbook that was downloadable as a PDF document and 2 micro-credentials. And then this year, we were fortunate enough to publish even more resources, 3 additional online courses, another offline workshop series with accompanying facilitation guides. And as I mentioned, we have several reports and translated materials as well, and facilitation guides. So a really, really rich library of resources. So I would like to now take you to our website. I'm going to share my screen to show you how, let's see here. Hopefully you can see my screen. So this is the landing page for the OERs that we have published with our incredible fellows, several of whom you've already heard from, and others who you'll hear from just shortly. You'll see that we have multilingual materials available in French as well as Arabic and English. And I'm going to scroll down just to show you how you can access a resource should you wish to visit our library. On the left, we have some filters for language, type, and topic. All of these are going to help you locate the resource or resources that you are looking for in your target language or your area of focus. And I'm just going to click on one course so you can see how I can access it. This is the Asset-Based Pedagogies in Displacement course that was developed this cycle. So I've opened the course. Here I have a short description, an opportunity to share the link. If I scroll down and click Access Resource, I'm going to have a link here that takes me to our website on Eurocos. This course is, of course, open and free for access, and you can enroll here by clicking this button. Many of the resources available here are easily accessible in this way. So you just simply click the link and it takes you to the page or to the download. The slideshows and the facilitation guides are available as PDFs. And I should also mention that the online courses, once you've enrolled in the course, the first landing page of the course allows you to download a PDF as well. So we really thought a lot about how we could have our resources accessible for educators in situations with limited connectivity and offline study. So let's return now to our slideshow. Thank you so much, Julie. And so I really, I want to return to this graphic that Julie showed at the beginning of our event. As you can see, we have our 5 focus areas of asset-based pedagogies, social and emotional learning, differentiated instruction, psychosocial support, and well-being. And so we really want to encourage you all to see this as a suite of resources in a global ecosystem that are contextualized for different settings, different countries, and they're available for ministries, schools, faculties, and individual teachers, allowing them to access relevant and rich professional development. So I know that the link to the OERs has been dropped in the chat. If you have any questions, please do post them in the chat here or reach out at the end of this session. Thank you so much.
Alyssa, thank you so much for situating this rich body of work in our larger ecosystem and for showing how to access the resources. We also have them accessible on other platforms, including UNESCO's Global Teacher Campus and Learning Equality's Colibri platform. So they are accessible in various spaces. And if you have a space where you'd also like to host them and share them, please be in touch. And Alyssa, many thanks to you for all of the countless hours you have put into building and making these available with our fellows. With that, I turn to chapter 4 in our story. We've heard why it's important to create professional learning materials focused on holistic learning. We've heard what the new materials are, and now we turn to looking at these resources in action. Here we turn to stories of our teachers as learners and as leaders. And we will hear from Yanal Musa, a senior project fellow in Lebanon, Hima Kadri, a senior project fellow in Niger, Joy Ngeza, a project fellow in Kenya, and William Kiare Muchugia, a senior project fellow in Kenya. Each of them are going to share their stories of implementation, how they have used the resources in their communities and what the impact has been. Very excited to hand the mic over to you now, Yanal.
Hello, everyone. It's Yanal from Lebanon. I'm actually a senior fellow teacher, and I'm a teacher at different public schools. And out of my love for teaching, actually, I own my business of also teaching. Our story here goes around face-to-face. We used the QHL actually 3 years earlier, paved our way for online course, but it was the first time there where we had face-to-face workshops. The face-to-face projects here, workshops, sorry, we use the 2 courses from the QHL, not all of them, only the cell and the acid-based. Through our workshops, I intended, since the teachers we targeted here in our workshops were public school teachers, because for the public school teachers in Lebanon, we don't have a lot of professional trainings actually, or lots of trainings where teachers are involved. For private, something kind of different. So in our projects or in our trainings here, we try to involve teachers with lots of activities from the cell and the acid-based concepts, which were for them at the beginning unfamiliar. So most of the teachers might use that qualities of the acid-based or the cell or PSS, but they weren't familiar that the namings or the titling. So through our projects, if you can see here, we noticed that most of the teachers are kind of unfamiliar. So I tried my best to involve them with certain touch of some of the activities in our courses. Some of the activities like things that may involve them more, may involve their stories, may involve their actions, their reactions. So most of the teachers were kind of surprised, because during our previous trainings and other places, the teacher might be just someone who is attending a course or attending a training without being involved. But what is special in our trainings, the touch of being involved. The teacher was able to speak, to talk, to let us hear his voice. This was special also because during our QHL course, we were heard, our voices were believed in. So I tried to transmit that belief to the teachers themselves. What was special after we had that long timing, we believe that it could be a long one from 9 till 4. But later on, if you notice in the other photos, the impact of our trainings was highly efficient, actually, really. It was beyond my expectation. I used to say that word, because some of these are some of the impacts of the teachers themselves who used to implement the activities that we applied in our trainings with their students. That balloon activity, that rosebud, or the teachers themselves couldn't believe that they are heard and they can do that. So the point was in our trainings to move from the traditional way of teaching to the traditional way of training, so that something where the teachers themselves are involved and the students later on can be involved. So the impact was highly heard, highly, really touched everywhere. So we targeted, for example, 3 or 4 schools. After our trainings, most of other teachers and other schools started to ask us, are there any trainings to be taken or held later on, just to be able to touch what was in the QHL actually courses, because they believe that the activities are from their own life. It's not something that is dictated or just from the ministry or the principal themselves. So I've tried here just to transmit really, or to implement what was really seen and heard from teachers, and the touch of belief they felt from our side was really impressive. And again, I would say that belief, that it was really, we felt that from our part, from our colleagues, from our Julie, of course, and the whole staff. And we tried, or I tried really to let the teachers feel that when they feel that, they were able to let their students even feel that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yanal. That belief in each other, the belief in each other's capacity and capability is so important in all of this work. Thank you. I turn now to Hima Kaji.
Yeah, Julie, thank you very much for giving me the floor. Thank you to everyone who is following us right now. Thanks to our sponsors and our entire team. I can say in Niger, after getting the opportunity of being positively changed from an ordinary teacher to a skilled and empowered teacher, I also got the opportunity to be involved in the training of many teachers and the school administrators. We were able to organize training sessions on socio-emotional learning, on psychosocial support, on well-being, and the last one on asset-based pedagogy. And in total, we trained more than 130 teachers and school administrators from 17 schools. And so because of lack of time, maybe I will talk about the last one. So on May 14th, we organized a training workshop on asset-based pedagogy. And the teachers involved in the training were all teachers who are in contact with refugee and or internally displaced children. For this last training session, there were 31 teachers who attended the training, which lasted from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And for this time, we associated the ministry and the local school administration, and a list of 20 participants were selected, and the list with their WhatsApp numbers were sent to us by the education department, the local education department. So the training was planned face-to-face, but for everyone to have information and details on the training, so we created a WhatsApp platform, which fortunately I can say continues to work until now. Even yesterday, we exchanged with some of our participants on the same platform. We wanted to have a little pre-training online survey with the participants to get their apprehension on the training topic, that is asset-based pedagogy. before even starting the training. But unfortunately, we found that many of them don't know at all or can't do it online because of one or another reason. Some don't have the appropriate phone. Some don't have the skill to do it online. So we gave them papers before and after the training to get their reactions. We were very surprised at their responses. They all really appreciated the training, but they came with some feedbacks, or I can say some recommendations, like we can note 3 essential points in their feedback. The first point is that on the whole, they are committed to integrating these new techniques and pedagogies in their teaching from now on. The second is the time allocated. We know the session was planned for just one day, but the time is not sufficient due to the interactions, due to the importance that the participants gave to the topic. So one day was really not sufficient, and they are asking for more time next time. And the third point was that the training should be repeated time to time for them to master it very well. One session is not sufficient for them to implement it correctly. This is what I want to say. I don't want to run in others' time. Thank you.
Hima, thank you so much. And thank you for highlighting that this is work that is in process and in progress, right? That, as you said, one workshop is not sufficient. This is work that needs to continue, needs to grow. And that is one of the reasons that these resources are openly available, so that they can be picked up and used by ministries, by school leaders, by teachers to continue the conversation and continue the work. With that, I want to turn the mic. Thank you so much, Hima. I want to turn the mic over to Joy Ngesa, who herself changed jobs in the middle of the project and took the QHL OER resources with her to her new job and used them. Joy?
Thank you, Julie. Welcome all. I'm really happy to be here. It's been a journey. Initially, I joined the project as a student teacher. I graduated to become a professional teacher. I taught in high school, still under the QHL project. And recently, I moved into working with an educational-based NGO here in Kenya that works to promote access to community education to children in underserved communities. For context purposes, I am based in Kenya, Kilifi County. Some of the challenges that affect the children, maybe it's important to note, is the aspect of poverty and gender-based violence. And seeing this and seeing my interaction with the QHL handbook, I saw this as an opportunity to inform the teachers of the various aspects of social emotional learning and how best they can incorporate them into the classroom. So in April, I conducted a workshop with the help of Julie and Alisa. We invited 12 teachers, 2 representatives from 6 schools here in Kilifi. Through these teachers, we were able to form teacher learning circles. We were not able to accommodate a huge number of teachers because that's when we were starting. But looking at the impact right now and the numbers and the number of people having that handbook, it's quite encouraging. So we started with 12, and currently we are about 30 teachers in the teacher learning circles. We actively communicate through the WhatsApp, and we try and meet And I try meet them at least after every 2 weeks just to see the progress and how they're going on and the feedback from the handbook. One of the things that came out strongly is the methodologies outlined in the handbook. There's the think, pair, and share approach, which has been quite impactful. I've heard the teachers say it has helped to build confidence in the learners who could not even share an answer in the classroom. The impact has been felt, and we look forward to creating more impact and making the handbook even louder. I have enjoyed the experience so far. It's been a learning experience, and I appreciate the team, Julie and Alisa. Thank you.
Joy, thank you so much for sharing your experience and for sharing the ways that the work continues and is growing as your teacher learning circle grows. And I turn the mic now over to William Kiare Muchugia, who we call our resident poet. William, we're eager to hear from you and your experience with the QHL project.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for showering me with a lot of accolades. And I'm the resident poet, and it's true. Sometimes I get inspired, and I say some words that sound poetic, but they are coming straight from my heart, because this initiative is one that has made a lot of difference in our locality. Let me introduce myself. I am William Kiare Mushogia, a senior teacher, a senior project fellow with the Quality Holistic Learning. I teach at Jamhuri Primary School in Nairobi, Kenya, and Nairobi is a meeting point, a melting pot of cultures, because we are based in Kibra. Kibra is where we have a resident South Sudanese refugee community. We have also Eritrean community, asylum seekers. We have Ethiopian, Congolese. We have quite a population in our school that is refugee and people of displaced context. Even our very own children from Kibera slums, they have their own challenges. They might not be refugees per se, but they have their own issues which are akin to displacement challenges. So straight to the point, I wanted to share my experience with the project, and especially with the materials that have been developed. I am proud to be associated with this initiative, because we have really birthed quite some helpful OERs, the flagship of which is the handbook which is called the QHL handbook for socio-emotional learning, which is basically what the three of us, my predecessor, Joy, and Vyampi, and the guys of Team Holiken. We had a community of practice formed at the very initial stages with the help of Julie, called Team Holiken, that is Holistic Learning Kenya. That was comprising of guys from Kakuma refugee camp, Joy Ngesa, who is a colleague from Nairobi, but from the other side of Nairobi. I'm from the western side of Nairobi in Kibra slums. And we teamed up together to come up with a handbook. And this is the resource that we are very proud of, together with other members of the team. So when it came to implementation of this handbook or these resources, or the uptake, I, together with Joy, before she moved on to whatever she has narrated before me, before she moved on, we had planned on a joint training for teachers in Nairobi, both from the east and west side of Nairobi, but it was not to be because of the intervening circumstance of her movement, and also the political disturbances in our city, because we had a hostile political environment which really affected our activity. So we had done some planning with her initially, budgeting, and also getting prerequisite permissions from the authorities. But when it came to the training, she moved on, and we were saying that it worked against us, but we turned it around, and for her movement to Kilifi and my being left here, I had to work alone. We made it a twin benefit. It was a twin blessing. She started her workshop in Kilifi, and I went on with mine in Nairobi, albeit on my own in my school. So the venue of the training was my school library, and I was able to get permission because the school was still running. And let me also share this one from the onset, that we have very understaffed schools in Kenya. The teachers have got very heavy workloads. And so to get all the teachers together for training is quite an uphill task. So I was only able to get 13 teachers from my own staff. I had planned to have 20, but I was only able to get 13, which was good enough for me. And they were very enthusiastic, and the material that we were to share or to implement was our very own handbook, and on quality holistic learning, socio-emotional learning, that we had co-written. And I welcomed the teachers. I insisted on punctuality because we didn't have time. The teachers had to come early, and I motivated them by when the one who came early punctually, I gave them a reward at the door. I gave them a hug, and then I gave them a lollipop to motivate them. So they were very happy. So we started ice-breaking activities. It's very important to have, when teachers are being trained, you relax them. You make them relax and make the environment conducive for whatever it is that you want to train them on. So some fun and participatory activities were done for ice breaking, and we went through the handbook during the course of the day, and the teachers were able to ventilate and to discuss and to share experiences. Actually, it's like it lit up a light in everyone's mind every time we went through some of the experiences that the teacher experiences in the handbook. The stories, they also came up with their own stories in their classrooms based on their challenges of educating children who were from crisis backgrounds, conflict backgrounds, which gave them a very bad challenge of behavioral. I think they were traumatized, and so it presented itself in class and interrupted the normal teaching. So these social-emotional learning tips that they got from the handbook, they were able to see them as solutions, as a panacea to the problem of indiscipline that was interrupting the academic learning. So in short, we were able to share stories and also go through the handbook itself. And as a way of winding up, because we could not finish the whole handbook, we formed a way forward, and we formed a WhatsApp group, a platform where we could share the reading. I gave them a copy of a hard copy, and also I provided them with the links that they could share even the other OERs that we had not shared. But for the implementation of the handbook, we followed it up by the WhatsApp group, and we have been using it ever since. The rest of the staff members have also joined in the group. They're in the platform, and we are sharing stories every day and the challenges and solving them online over the WhatsApp asynchronously from each one's class. We don't have to meet physically. This one was a face-to-face one, but the rest of the time we have been talking of the WhatsApp. We have been chatting and even sharing pictures and images on WhatsApp. So we have not had the necessity of meeting physically. I was able to get the feedback by asking them 3 simple questions. What did you like about the workshop? What went well? What did not go well? And what would you like us to improve if there is a next time? So, and the teachers were able to give me the feedback, and we have been sharing it and improving on the handbook and improving on our experiences. And the most practical and functional part of the handbook is the lesson plans. The lesson plans which have socio-emotional learning concepts infused or piggybacked on the lessons, so that we get some behavioral and socio-emotional tips which help the lesson to be more sensitive to the children who have challenges. So as far as way forward is concerned, I still feel that we have a long way to go, because the teachers are many, and we still need to expand our wings. And there's a lot of hope in this quality holistic learning, because it's the way to go in future. So I thank everyone for listening to me, and I think we are all going to join hands in the very beautiful community of practice, which is going to be international. Thank you very much.
William, thank you so much. It's really wonderful to be hearing these stories of implementation and impact from your direct experience in your communities, in your local schools, in your local NGOs and community-based organizations, and also with your ministry partners and colleagues. And with that, I turn to a huge thank you. And this slide, I apologize in advance of anyone or any organization that may not be present here. This is a snapshot of the many schools, the many NGOs, the many community-based organizations, the many partners in this work. We heard from each of our amazing project fellows about their engagement with their local communities. And it's only because of these grassroots connections that the handbooks, the courses, the workshops have reached so many teachers, have reached so far already. I would be remiss to not thank our funders, and I know my fellows and my colleagues in this work stand with me in thanking the Porticus Foundation, some of our colleagues who are on the call today. Thank you very much for believing in us, believing in our work. Yanal spoke earlier about belief, and that belief in the potential of educators to change the world, to change their own classrooms and their own schools and their own communities is so powerful. And Porticus believes in teachers, believes in education, and we thank you for that. I would also be remiss to not thank our colleagues at UNESCO and UNHCR, who have provided so much insight and perspective from the global level about what is happening in education and what is happening in refugee resettlement and displacement, and have really been incredible thought partners in how we share the work, what we include in the work, who we include in the work. And a special shout out in particular to our UNHCR colleagues in Chad and Niger and West and Central Africa, who have really been champions of trying to move the work forward in some of the most difficult and limited in terms of connectivity circumstances. I also thank our colleagues from Semestea, the Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology in Africa, our colleague Gladys, who I hope is joining us today, has been such an incredible leader as a project fellow and as a teacher trainer in Kenya with this teacher training organization, and has really incorporated a lot of the material into the national level trainings with school leaders, principals, compliance officers, and teachers. And then all of our colleagues in Lebanon, in Niger, in Kenya, who have opened their schools, have invited their teachers and colleagues, their organizational partners at Jusur, at Sawa for Development, at Kilifi Primary School, at the various public schools in Niger. You can see the list here. And again, for anyone who has been part of the work that is not listed here, we are thankful for you as well. We are grateful for all of you. But most especially, I am so grateful to my colleagues who've shared their stories today, who shared their perspectives, and who have mobilized these communities, who have brought all of these partners and all of these participants to the table to talk about holistic learning, a topic that is very much of great importance in this moment, and is still very much a new topic in many systems, and yet one that has become more and more important within each national education system. And with that, I want to thank all of the ministers of education in Niger, in Kenya, in Lebanon, especially where we've been working, but also in Ukraine, in the United States, in Chad, in Jordan, in these other locations, who have themselves been thinking about holistic learning in different ways, using different terminologies and building that into the national curriculum. And as you noticed in the stories, the work that we've been doing through this project has really been reflective of that national curriculum, has really been important in helping teachers to understand and integrate the theoretical and research-based knowledge practically in the classroom, whether that is in Lebanon or Kenya or in Niger. And so now I want us to turn to the final chapter in our story today, which is our 5th chapter, where we want to talk about visions for this work. And we want to invite all of you into the work and think about next steps with us. We hope to have a little bit of time for some question and answer or comments at the end. But before that, we're very excited to hear from our colleagues in Lebanon, Farah Farouk and Dalal Alaz, a teacher and a student there, who have a vision for quality holistic learning that I think is quite inspiring and of great interest for all of us on this call today. We'll also hear a bit from Sarah Kassab again, and Alyssa and myself as we wrap up, and then we do hope to hear from you as we close today. So I turn the mic over to you, Farah and Dalal. Welcome.
Hello everyone. It's Farah Farouk, a science teacher. I teach Syrian refugees in Lebanon, and Dalal Alaz is one of my best and excellent students that I teach privately. My talented 17 years old artist had prepared an amazing image using digital tools. I explained for her the objective of the image that we were trying to create and how we were trying to join all our ideas and thoughts in only one image, an image holding the main terms of QHL courses, PSS, SEL, APP, and others, and illustrating teachers as well as students crossing difficulties by using these terms. And finally, making nature as a background of the image. She mixed the whole things and ended with her amazing creative image. Dalal, can you explain it for us, please?
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Just a brief introduction about myself. I'm 17 years old. I'm from Rafiq Hariri High School, and I'm very thankful that Ms. Farah gave me the chance to work on such a very, very special project. To explain the drawing, mainly, as you can see, the design goes under the theme of exploration and discovery. It uncovers how teachers use and pass on tools for students who are explorers. In the drawing, you can see binoculars, maps, and books that are used by teachers and passed on to students to help them discover the rough terrain and background behind them, which is the mountains. Mainly, the mountains resemble the journey of the students that is guided with their teachers. And the tools that are found are the ones like that resemble the tools that are supplied from the organization and from the courses that this organization does, including QHL and the sub-courses. If you can see as well, the word QHL is written with binoculars and books and other tools. And you can see as well trademarks to resemble what the sub-courses are under QHL. And that,
if you please zoom the image to be seen.
Yeah, please, if possible.
I'm having trouble zooming in. My apologies. We'll share it later.
Mainly those tools for case that this organization is supplying teachers with vital tools passed on to students to help them reach the finishing line, which you can see in the middle, because you have like the highest mountain in the middle with the finishing flag. The tools mainly help them finish that finishing flag. This finishing flag is mainly when they finish college, when they finish their high school years, and etc. And those tools passed on help those students develop their skills. And if you can see, we can see the cooperation, we can see the enthusiasm of both the students and the teachers to explore the rough terrain and make use of the tools supplied by the courses and the sub-courses, and also the esteemed organization leading. And basically that's the drawing, that's the design. It was done by Canva as well, like on the digital app Canva.
Dalal, fabulous. Thank you so much. Farah, thank you. It is really beautiful to hear from a student who has been impacted and inspired by this work. And we are so grateful that you joined us, Dalal, to share the story of this image. And Farah, we're so thankful that you, as a teacher who's been involved in this learning and leadership, is talking with your student about the work as well. Because it's all of us together that are learning and growing in this work. Sara Kassab, I'd like to turn it over to you to reflect on what you've just heard and to close us out of this part of the story as we move into the closing.
Yes, thank you, Dalal, and thank you everyone for giving us an insight into your experience with the QHL material. I can't help it but say that one theme that kept arising as everyone kept talking, the ownership that everyone feels towards the material. And I think, Dalal, when you were talking, it really highlighted the ownership that you've had in order to create this wonderful image, and you being able to explain it in that way makes it feel how connected you feel towards the work of your teacher. And I think we've had a great chance to see how this work has connected not only teachers to teachers, but teachers to students, teachers to their administration, to different parts of the education system, bringing conversations together and giving the floor for everyone to discuss and feel empowered through a material that was developed by teachers, for teachers, and for the community that they are working in. I can't say, but I feel proud to be part of this project. And I can't wait to see what the future holds with the power of the material that we have available and these resources, and how these resources, even though that they are stable in the way that we see them, however, everyone was using them in a way to fit their own context, to fit their own needs. So thank you all for sharing.
Sara, thank you. Such powerful and important closing words highlighting the adaptability and usability of the materials. And we invite you, if you are a teacher on this call, to explore, to learn, to grow, to share. If you are a ministry or an INGO or a community-based organization colleague, we invite you to make use of the resources as well. They are under a Creative Commons license, which means you can adapt them, you can translate them, you can use them, you can post them on your sites. And we would love to partner with you to talk about that implementation. Before I hand the mic to Alyssa for some closing words as well, I want to thank all of our project fellows. We heard today from Hima and Hadiza, from William and Joy. We heard also from Vianney and Yanal and Farah, and we heard from the amazing student Dalal, who has inspired us all. And also a part of this work, Jihan and Jihad and Mosi and Frederick, who've joined us on the call, but we're not part of the speaker panels today. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your contributions as well. And Aziza, we have had fellows who have helped with translation and review of translation. We've had fellows who've written material. We've had fellows who've led workshops. All of you have shown us the way to learn, to grow, to adapt, to integrate, to transform. And we're so grateful to each of you. Alyssa, I'd like to give you a moment to reflect on your experience as one of the leaders in this project and offer a few closing words before we open the mic to our participants for any questions.
Thank you so much, Julie. And thanks again, everybody, for being here. It's been such a pleasure to share this work with you all. I just really want to reiterate Julie's words of gratitude to all of the partners and also to all of the fellows. I can't count the number of times that I've had to lean on you all for support and for help, and so many tasks ranging from small to large. So my great takeaway from this project is it really was a process of co-creation and co-learning. I learned so many things from my incredible colleagues, and the learning continues. I look forward to seeing the impact of these resources. And again, just want to reiterate Julie's call for engagement and collaboration. If you're interested in using these resources, we would love to hear from you. We would love to work with you. And thank you again, everyone, for being here. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. And a big thank you to Meg Riley and Diana Garcia and Casey and Catherine and all of our colleagues at Childhood Education International who have been so pivotal in making the work happen, making sure that our fellows get their stipends and the workshop materials they need. There are many people always behind the scenes. So thank you to everyone who's been part of this work as well. We invite you to engage in a short feedback survey if you are so inclined. We'd love to hear about your experience in this workshop and also your interest in the OERs, how you might be thinking of using them. So please use the link in the chat or the QR code on the screen. And with that, we have about 15 minutes, amazingly. Well done, everybody. We have about 15 minutes for discussion. And with that, I would ask anybody who's been listening so patiently and so lovingly, so with so much care this entire time, if you have a question you'd like to ask, please share it in the chat or unmute yourself and feel free to take the mic. And you can ask a question of any individual or in general. I'll keep this screen up for just a moment so that if anyone is trying to access the QR code, and then I'll close it so we can see each other in a closing sort of circle for our community as well. Thank you, Blythe. There's a question, will we be doing translation into other languages? We do hope so. If there are languages that you would like to be able to access these resources in, please type them in the chat. Let us know what languages might be of use. They can also be translated by individual organizations that are working in particular regions. We've just started translating some material into Kiswahili for greater use both in Kenya and around Africa and Eastern Africa. There is some interest in translating materials into Spanish, but if there are languages that you're interested in accessing, let us know. If you want to share an email, we can be in touch and have conversation. We know that recently these resources are being used in Myanmar in English. So definitely they can continue to grow in other languages. Thank you for that question, Blythe. Okay, I'm gonna just invite anyone who has a question to feel free to turn on your camera, your mic, whatever is comfortable, and ask. Or if you have a reflection or a thought that you want to share, you can also do that. It doesn't have to be a question.
Hello, I have a simple note. Maybe I skipped it.
Sure, you
There
have.
was some. Thank you. There was something also special in our face-to-face training, the idea of teachers' well-being. I think that idea was really empowering for all the teachers. We held it, and it left a so positive impact on every single teacher, because teachers never believed that someone we always talk about learners and students and parents and communities. So no one talks about teachers themselves, because teachers aren't always guilty about something or that idea. So they liked and appreciated the idea of being appreciated and looked at differently by their well-being. We even thought of giving them hints. So some teachers sometimes ask, what shall I do if I'm tired, if I'm exhausted, if I'm overwhelmed with something? So I even thought of certain ideas which may support them for their own well-being, like yoga. I gave them certain yoga session for 5 minutes, certain music, drinking, eating chocolate, whatever. So that idea of thinking of teachers' part, of teachers' whole well-being, holistic well-being, was so impressive for them.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Such an important part of the way that we held each other in this community over the last 2.5 years, also the way we've cared for each other, and then the way we've been caring for our colleagues in the work.
We need support ourselves, yeah.
Thank you for that, Yana. Raphael, I see you have a hand up, and then I see Blythe also has a hand up. Raphael, go ahead.
Thank you very much. And I greet everyone here. So as you have seen, my name is Raphael Momanyi, and I'm a teacher from Kakuma, Kenya. I actually want to appreciate your team, particularly from Alisa, who invited me to this program. And so far I've taken a pilot study of 3 courses. That's the asset-based pedagogies, and then differentiated instruction, and also differentiated instruction displacement setting. I must acknowledge that I learned a lot from that, and it gave me new skills as a teacher, particularly as a classroom teacher. And I've learned, and I'm prepared to use that to ensure that I bring a good learning outcome to my students. And maybe, I don't know, I would like to ask a question. Particularly, I saw that you have five categories of learning. That was asset-based pedagogies. Then there was differentiated learning. And then there was again differentiated learning in displacement setting. Now, I want to ask about the social and emotional learning, and also for the psychological learning. I don't know, so far I've done those 3 as pilot study. So should I assume that I've now completed them and then move now to the remaining 2? Thank you.
Rafael, thank you so much for sharing your engagement and your story of learning and the change that's happening in your classroom. We're really excited that you have found the materials, that you're finding them useful, and that you're able to engage with them. And yes, we invite you to continue learning. You are welcome to take any of the courses at any time. All of the courses are available for you. So please, if you have not yet looked at the social emotional learning resources, we invite you to do so. We think that you'll find them very helpful in relation to the asset-based pedagogies. They're very connected, and we think you will find that connection. Thank you. Blythe?
So I just wanted to make one comment about yoga, because one of my students did a cross-cultural study from Trenton, New Jersey and Indonesia with Sekolahku My School, which is one of CEI's. It was, I think, the first one to complete all the levels of the school-based program. And the student found that she could not do yoga in Indonesia because of the religious background of yoga. And so she used Zumba. So I wanted just to share that in terms of saying that one has to be flexible in terms of working with the community in what you're using, and the creative movement was an example.
Blythe, thank you so much for that example. It's a great indication of the way the material needs to be picked up and used within the local context. And so within our materials, we're providing the research, we're providing some frameworks and some activities, but it's the teachers themselves who have been implementing that know their community best. So Yanal knows her colleagues and knows her community, and thus implements techniques and strategies that are relevant. I think we eat chocolate everywhere in the world. But the contextualization is so important. And you're absolutely right that the movement and the ways that we take care of ourselves vary from culture to culture, space to space, even by gender and by age. And all of these things matter, and something that we have to hold in mind as we think about implementation and we think about learning and sharing. Thank you for that note. We appreciate it. Frederick, I see your hand is up.
Hi everyone. Mine is not really a question per se. It's more of a comment that throughout this whole project, whereby we started some time back. Teachers have shown a lot of willingness, even after we had the face-to-face training that Yanal was talking about. Teachers showed a lot of willingness to learn and to embrace, QHL, even despite having very huge classes, especially in the refugee setup. The teachers are really willing to learn, and I think that is a very good thing, because that means that we can be able to improve the quality of our learning and our teaching, even as seen here that we have so many guests who've been able to come and be with us this evening or this afternoon, depending on where you're from. And that shows willingness, and that is very good. And I'd just like to appreciate everyone who's been here for showing that willingness to improve the quality of our learning and teaching processes. So that's all, Julie.
Frederick, thank you so much for that, and for your leadership in the project, and for the great heart that you bring to this work, and the way that you've welcomed so many people into the work as part of our team. Thank you. Gilbert, I see your hand is up. Welcome.
I just want to appreciate Gariki and Vianney for, after training, it has really we have really made some efforts to improve our holistic quality learning in our schools. And I just want to appreciate and thank you for offering for us this kind of training. Thank you.
Gilbert, thank you so much for your gratitude and for your commitment to learning and to teaching, and for being part of the work with us. We really have enjoyed learning and growing with you, and we look forward to what comes next, right? And we invite you, Rafael and Gilbert, we invite you now to be leaders in the work as well, and share with your colleagues and use the materials.
Okay, we shall, thank you.
Thank you. We are approaching the top of the hour, and so I'd like us to wrap up. I want to just give a moment if there's anyone else who would like to share anything. Yes, Devorka, welcome.
Yeah, so thank you very much for all of you, for sharing your leadership, for sharing your stories. I mean, it has been really, truly inspirational. And I feel really glad that I've been able to walk part of this story with you. And yeah, I've been really, really inspired. And I think there's so much leadership in this amazing group of people. So really looking forward to continuing to be part of this journey with you.
Devorka, thank you so much for being such a flexible, creative, and kind thought partner in the work, and really helping us to continue to grow and move forward and learn as a community. We're so grateful. And all of you on this call are so special to me. You know that we have been through so much, and we will continue to go through so much in this world that is a world of great beauty and joy, and also many challenges and struggles. And it is together that we grow and we learn and we change and we create. Vianney, you spoke of a revolution. That sparked some fire in me when you used the word revolution. I thought, oh my goodness, Vianney, there's much more to do. And so we continue to grow and learn so that we can transform, and so that we can create education spaces that are truly belonging, where everyone feels seen and recognized and valued and appreciated and loved and cared for, where everyone can reach their full potential and grow into whatever life they dream of, and continue to grow as that life and that dream changes. To my colleagues who are joining from the very challenging spaces of war and conflict and displacement, you are always in our minds and in our hearts at Childhood Education International. And we are always thinking of what is the way, Hadiza, I'm looking at you, what is the way to reach our colleagues who don't have a data bundle, who don't have a device? What is the way to reach our friends who are in a very remote region? What is the way to reach someone who is in a bomb shelter? What is the way that we ensure that every teacher feels connected, that every teacher feels valued, that every teacher feels heard, and that every teacher is capable, equipped, and empowered. Sara Kassab, these are your words, equipped and empowered to lead and to grow with their students and the families in their communities. I'm very honored, very humbled, and very grateful to be part of this work with you all. And I look forward to our next steps. This is always just the beginning. The beginning is now. Was that you, William, who said that the other day? Somebody said that in a recent meeting. The beginning is now. We've been working on this for 2.5 years, and the beginning is now. And I look forward to our journey together ahead. Thank you, everyone. Take good care of yourselves. Be well, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much.
Take good care.
Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Have a nice evening and also a nice day
Bye.
for those who are having.
Take good care.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Take good care.